All right, welcome dart players and cornhole players. Here today to talk about the Biathlon test tournament that we're going to do coming up on February 28th on a Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Ticket. Before I go into what that event's going to consist of, I first want to cover the first test tournament that we did, some issues that we ran into, what we're looking at doing to try and correct it. And again, I appreciate everybody that came out to the first one. And I'll go ahead and say thank you to everybody that's going to come out to the second one. Just because we really want your input when we do this. We want it to be a success. We don't want to look like it was a flop and we didn't know what we were doing. So again, thank you for coming out to both of these. All right, in the first one, what we decided we were going to do was we wanted a nice even number of players, 8 dart players, 8 cornhole players, and we were going to sign them up as such and then randomize so you were guaranteed to play with the person from your opposite sport. The bracket would have been a nice and pretty 8 players, so everything worked out accordingly with no buys, no ghost players, no random people that, if you're familiar with what a ghost player does, because darts player don't know that. All right, but what happened was we had a few people that didn't show up. We had 3 open spots. We were not able to fill them at the last minute. It was decided that I switched from being a dart player to being a cornhole player since I do play both. And then we just played with one less team, which made our bracket a little bit off, obviously. We flipped a coin to decide which sport would be played first. And we were going to make the winner's bracket in the top. And again, those that either are seeing this and were invited, obviously know tournaments and how they work, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Up in the winner's bracket, we flipped a coin to decide what game was going to be first, and it was chosen to be darts. So the opening game that you would play was darts. If you won your match, your next game would be cornhole, and darts and cornhole and so on through the upper winner's bracket. Since the bottom of the bracket would now start with cornhole when you lost, it would be just the opposite. Cornhole darts throughout the bottom of the tournament. So you were playing every other sport along the way, which kind of made it fair that there was a good dart player or a good cornhole player. You couldn't just run away with it because you had to go play the other sport as well. Well, what happened was when we had the odd number of teams, which was lopsided, not perfectly even, in the opening rounds, it meant someone played darts and darts back to back, and it happened to like 2 different people, and it may even been someone that played cornhole back to back. I can't remember, but it was kind of unfair that someone that came as the cornhole player didn't even get to play their sport, and they were 2 and out and done. That's when we realized that alternating sports across the top wouldn't work unless the bracket was exactly perfect. So we're going to do it a little bit different this time. We're going to decide that now you're going to play both sports in a match for a medley. Okay? Again, which sport we play first may just be a coin flip again. We'll decide as we get there. But it will consist of 1 cornhole game, and it's going to be 1 901 game in darts. If you win both of those, your team advances to the next round. If it's split 1-1, the only thing we can come up with at this point is a flip of the coin to call it, heads or tails. If you get it right, you can pick the sport or choose to go first. If you have some better ideas on how to determine what the next game is that isn't overly complicated, we are all ears. But at least now, every medley match that you play is going to consist of both sports. All right? The next thing that we're looking at is the odd number of players that may sign up. We purposely want to kind of make this upcoming event at the Ticket on the 28th lopsided in one sport or the other. Whether it's 23, and I'm just using these numbers as an example, 23 cornhole players and only 20 dart players. Well, we got 3 people and we're off. We need to figure out what to do. I think when it's that close, we could probably decide that there's a few cornhole players that know how to play darts pretty well and agree to switch to the other side to kind of make it even. We're unsure about what to do with the odd extra person right now. And again, we'd love your feedback. Same thing if we have more dart players than we do cornhole. There's quite a few of us that are actually good in both sports. I switched over in the last one. I wouldn't mind. We want you to be good at that sport, though, if you're going to switch over. And I think if it's close enough, we'll easily be able to tell with Will, who would be kind of mandating the cornhole side, and myself on the dart side as to how good you are at either sport, and we'll make that determination that, yeah, it would make things. We want this to be as fair as possible. The other thing that we talked about was if we get to the event and it is lopsided in one sport or the other, I'll start with the cornhole side first. You guys would go do your typical rounders that you usually do for 2 rounds and determine the weakest 3 players, if it was the 23-20 example, and those 3 players with the weakest score do not get into the main event. We're sorry, you didn't qualify to make it. On the flip side would be darts. If we had 23 dart players and only 20 cornhole players, we would all go throw 1 game of count up, and the bottom 3 people don't qualify into the event, and that would make it competitive as well. But we hate to plan this big event, get a bunch of people out there, and then you pay for your entry and you didn't even qualify to play. You know, we'd feel bad. We decide, do we give you your money back? But you still went through the hassle of planning and either getting a babysitter or making arrangements to leave work early or not doing a family event. We really don't want to eliminate people, so we are open to, again, suggestions and ideas. The way Cornhole works as far as signing people up, when you're registering right now and you're getting this private link from us, you're just registering right now. You are not picking which sport that you want to participate in as your strongest sport. We will do that at the pre-registration. Once you're paying your money, you can tell us which sport we're playing. Cornhole is going to separate you into an A list and a C list. There's a reason why it skips B. A and C, and you're either an A dart player or a C cornhole player. And then when it gets to be lopsided, we will either decide to switch people on purpose and make it even, or if you play both sports, we're going to put you in the B division list because you're capable of playing both on either side. And what Cornhole will do in the randomized draw, it will pair up every single A and C, A and C, A and C. When it hits the one that's lopsided, it pairs them up with B, the remaining player. Okay, and I think that's kind of a fair way of doing it as well. Those of you that are very familiar with Cornhole and some of the tournaments, give some feedback on that as well. But just know that if you're participating in this in the next upcoming weeks when we do this, this is a trial. We value your input dearly, and we appreciate you coming out, helping, trying to make this a success. I feel it really will once we nail down the components and the what-ifs prior to running a big event and, you know, making it a decent entry fee and having some good participation. All right, so that pretty much sums it up. I want to finalize with one more thing. Those of you know me, I don't like to make my videos too long because it loses interest. But we'll talk about it when we get to the event, the rules one more time on how it works. But I want to throw one more idea out that's being talked about that came up recently that I hadn't shared with all of you yet, was what if we signed everybody up as we're trying to figure out how a medley works and which sport to play, was we just go ahead and do the randomize for the partners, how we just talked about. You got your partner for the whole day. Now, let's break off and go play a whole cornhole tournament just as all the cornhole people know how to do it. No rounders because you got your partner, but go run the whole cornhole tournament. Based on your finishing position, you get points, first through 20 teams or whatever it is, with a point system. Now, let's all go play a dart tournament the way the dart players are used to running a dart tournament and get your finishing position. We'll add the 2 final scores up together, and that's going to determine who wins the overall. We may even be able to throw out some of the cash to the top 3 in the cornhole as a little, here's a something back. You won one event, here's your money back. Same thing with darts, but the majority of the prize pool go into that overall status, because that's what this is. It's a biathlon. It's about drawing up and trying to be good in both sports and carry your partner to a victory. So that's what we're being talked about. We value input. If you get this video again, I appreciate you guys coming out and giving the feedback, and we'll see if this one works a little bit better. Okay? Thank you, everybody.